to visit them several times in London. And even the departure, they had refused to pay government the exit package, but we through my NGO and colleagues around the world, we made Anglo pay government $30 million and set up a fund, what they call Cooperative Development Fund, which today is a fund which has substantial money and helping out to address social issues on the Copper Belt. So that is the background, but in between we've done quite a lot of things. In terms of environmental litigation in this country, I stand out as one of the pioneers.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We may get back, to that in terms of mitigations. But before we do that, could you just tell our viewers what are the major contributing factors of climate change, environmental degradation? Is this solely an economic contributing factor?
Yes, industries, especially the major industries in China, in the US, in India, and Europe. Because, of course, now in Europe, they're trying to minimize the discharge of what we call the greenhouse gases, because that's a major problem. When you discharge what you call the NOxes and the carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, you discharge those into the environment. They eat away the ozone layer and also create like some greenhouse where you start heating up. The ground starts heating up because you're trapping. When light comes into it penetrates, hits the ground. As it radiates going back, it finds some
blocks up there.
Yes, so you start heating up, and thereby causing all these consequences like drying certain areas, the cyclones, and all sorts of the typhoons. So all the climate-related disasters are caused largely by climate change.
How has Africa and indeed Zambia been impacted by these highly industrialized countries?
Well, for us here, we are dependent more on agriculture. And if we have droughts, you saw the droughts we had from the 1980s, because the heating up of our earth has been phenomenal from 1980. It has been just going up unrelentingly. And we started experiencing those droughts that time. You remember it was a time when we could not even have food. We had to import yellow maize. Areas like Southern Province were hit hard, where agriculture was major. The way hit hard, people were eating roots, from the bush, grass, and you could see Southern Province was in a terrible shape. Western Province also, the desert was like approaching. But because of the various mitigation measures that have been put in place in between, and also especially the relocation of people from that area, we have a lot of people from Southern Province who have relocated to Copper Belt, to Central Province, to Northern Province, to various Muchinga, such that the province now, in terms of carrying capacity, is able to sustain. And that's why you can see now regeneration of the forest and stuff like that. And then some sustainability is coming back. But it was terrible, those are some of the impacts that we've seen. And then sometimes we have adverse weather. For example, we saw the floods which hit them hard. In the last 1 month, I think the province that has been hit hard by climate change related disasters, the Southern Province. And why? It's because over the years, in trying to find water, because people now have settled in areas which were years back, there used to be either rivers or streams or dambos and stuff like that. So when you have flash floods like that, they are caught in the wave. And in fact, one of my young boys, the father died, was swept away. So it's been terrible in that situation because of climate change. But otherwise, the way we are managing our forests, if you look at our statistics, forest cover from 2000 or maybe from 1990, but more so from 2000, the last 20 years, we are really devastating the forests. We are creating a problem for ourselves. And in fact, topping the list now is Northwestern, where it's like 4 times as much has been taken. In fact, like none of all the provinces, none is equaling what is happening in Northwestern. But that is the what you call the catchment area for our rivers. The Zambezi on one side, the Kafue this side. We depend, these two, that basin is dependent more on the forest cover in Northwestern. And what is happening there, unless mitigation measures are done very quickly, we see how we can reverse what is happening. We will have, in the long run, drying up of the Kafue River, drying up of the Zambezi River. And that will be extremely devastating at some point.
I'll be revisiting, that, Mr. SINKAMBA. Again, a 2-3-pronged, question. One, these, highly industrialized countries are the major culprits for these. 2 questions. One, why are they not helping Africa enough, to deal with this in terms of financing? Because this is a very expensive exercise. 2, the world is warming up. There's so much global warming. Every conference, they can't agree. There's no consensus on reducing the warmth, of the world. These 2, issues, where does the problem lie?
Financing. Let me start with financing. Financing, of course, there's money which comes through private capital, bilateral support, and through the multilateral systems, the UN. Now, that which comes through the UN, usually when it comes as grants, we have had times when the money is given to us. And because of the bureaucracy within government, because of greed within government, money sometimes end up going. Because you find maybe it's a 5-year project, and then you fail to exhaust. And I've had situation myself where I've been involved. There was a first project in the 90s to support the environment sector. I think 50% of the money went back, and there was a lot of corruption. So the World Bank just withdrew the money at the end of the project. Very little was achieved. We had the Copper Belt Environment Project through the World Bank, again support. By the time I personally intervened to get it extended 3 times. Because it was supposed to run from 2002 to 2007, somewhere there. But because it took 3 years before we could start, and then you want to start with workshops and what you call in brackets training program. By the time you want to get involved, the time has run out. And then we ended up having also money going back. There have been several loans that have come in terms of climate change mitigation and adaptation. Those loans, if you ask me who is involved, how much is available, who really even talks about it within government, zero. And through my interactions with civil society groups over the last 20, 30 years, I've come to learn that Zambia is one of the countries in Africa with very little participation when it comes to utilization of funds that come, either as NEPAD, as the SADC, as AU, as the EU, as UN, World Bank. Utilization of funds to achieve the objectives is our biggest challenge. Right now, there is a climate change mitigation fund running. I think there's some $50 million or so, okay, and several other envelopes are there. But ask what is being done. Petty things. We don't. We used to have clean development mechanism under the UN framework those days, where those who wanted to be innovative, to come up with technologies which would be environmentally friendly, you could be supported to come up with this kind of technology. If you look at the list of beneficiary countries in Africa, you find that Zambia is 0, but the majority is South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Uganda. Those are the countries that benefit from these resources. Look at the NEPAD. NEPAD had a lot of resource envelopes. How many Zambian firms, how many Zambian individuals, how many Zambian civil society groups benefited? 0. You know, and it all is a result of policy. You'd find that here in Zambia, for example, you have the Minister of Foreign Affairs as the ministry responsible for all international cooperation, including the financing of various programs, not the Minister of Finance. Such that you'd find that, you know, with changes of government, like right now there's a change of government, a lot of young boys with no clue on what to do in terms of international cooperation. They will not do anything. At the end of the day, when they get there, for them it's just a job to write letters. Maybe the president is traveling now to Belgium to find yourself on that trip. Those are the issues. Such that you find that if you were to today look at what other countries are doing in terms of international cooperation and how they're using money, you find that we are somewhere there.
This is a very
so you can't blame the international community.
This is a very serious, you know, indictment on Zambian government. The million question is, what is the way forward? Because I mean, the repercussions of these are there to see. I mean, there are floods there because of climate change. Meanwhile, and we'll be getting to issues of mining. Is it lack of ignorance or what?
Ambassador, the biggest problem is policy direction. Like the president went to attend the climate conference
in Scotland.
Yes, in Scotland. And at that conference, a lot of money was pledged for Africa. And I think it was almost $1 trillion. Okay, pledged for Africa. How many Zambians today can you say? This was almost from 5 months since he was there. How many Zambians?
What has been any follow-up?
What has happened? It will be again next COP27 somewhere,
which is it's going to be in Egypt.
Let's go and attend. Come back. So this is what it is. Even from the private sector, because that $1 trillion, it was more private sector. Nothing is going to be achieved. We have got money is that in terms of green bonds. There's a lot of money out there for climate-related projects, what we call the green project. And under the green bond framework, we even have the laws in place. You understand? We've the laws in place, but who is participating? Zero. You understand? Zero. I've tried to sell ideas on how we can generate money from the green bonds, low-cost money, to address our energy needs, especially solar and these micro hydro stations. No one is interested.
Do you get frustrated?
Well, sometimes that's why of late I am more into space.
Yeah.
Participate in the space discourse with colleagues out there.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a little bit successful, because then you're not frustrated because of these people who cannot see beyond the food on the table.
Yeah.
You know, that is the trouble.
Yeah. I'll be coming back, after this short break to discuss Lower Zambezi and the green economy ministry. This is Frank on Camnet, wherever you are in the world, Africa, Zambia, looking at the impact of climate change with Peter SINKAMBA, who is the president of the Green Party. Join me very shortly.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Are you a talented and gifted soccer player? Camnet Stars will be conducting trials for young players between the age of 14 and 16 years. You never know, you could be America or Europe bound this July.
We need to pick some players so that we can come up with a very powerful squad which is supposed to travel outside the country and do a lot of work for Zambian football.
Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School Playgrounds. Time, 14 hours. You could be the next big soccer star in Europe. See you this Sunday, 20th February 2022.
Are you a qualified and skilled marketing person? Have you got the passion and motivation as a marketer? Camnet TV is looking for self-motivated, qualified marketers. For more details, please call 0962 965 883 or send your details to the email info@camnettvafrica.com.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
This is Frank on Camnet, wherever you are in the world, in Africa, Zambia. Welcome after the break, and my guest this evening is Peter SINKAMBA, who is the president of the Green Party, and we're looking at climate change. Earlier on, you did talk about the pollution caused by the mines, and fortunately with your intervention, some litigation cases have been successfully being done. Today we're talking about Lower Zambezi, to go and virtually destabilize the ecosystem, the animals and everything. What's going on?
But I can't understand.
What's going on?
I can't understand.
What's going on?
I can't understand, I can't comprehend.
Yeah.
I never expected that our colleagues in UPND would have tolerated that.
Yeah.
That project, it's a short-term project.
Yeah.
We're talking about 5 years. You go and destroy nature like that for benefits not worth it.
Yeah.
We have copper around the country, all over.
Yeah.
I think if they want to mine copper, if their business to mine copper, we can give them a lot of claims around the country where they can mine copper, not that side. Because the destruction there will be long term, in fact forever.
Yeah.
If you look at Copper Belt, it used to be a wildlife area.
Yeah.
It was a serious game.
Yeah.
But mining by its nature, it chases away animals, birds, and other organisms forever. They will never come back. So for us, we have said no to mining, and there is no justification why UPND should sustain it. They've been making certain claims that, look, this thing, it was PF that were there. They allowed it in May last year, and there's nothing we can do, which is not correct.
You cannot embrace wrong.
Wrong, exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No,
because
simply because it was done by somebody else.
And it's double standards.
Yeah.
It's double standards.
Yeah.
We've seen them take action
Yeah.
on things which they perceived were wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of civil servants have been fired on the pretext that they did wrong things.
Yeah.
We have cases which are being arraigned in court on what they say was wrong, which must be sorted out.
Yeah.
They didn't grant, for example, Kasenseli mine a license to mine gold.
Yeah.
But when they came, they found wrong things were being done. A license was suspended. Today, there's no gold mining taking place.
Yeah.
That side, we are aware that a wrong was committed.
Yeah.
A mining license was granted contrary to the environmental law, as well as contrary to the mining law. The mining law states that before you get your mining license, first of all, you must have an approved environmental management plan. And that management plan, together with your application for a mining right, should be the key documents that you must submit to the committee to review. Now, that license was granted in 2011 when there was no approved EIA. And up to now, until last 2 weeks, when we were told there was an approval which was made in... So there's no way they can tell us today that they can't intervene because it was granted by MMD, or is it PF wrongly? No, I don't think that is leadership. So the president has every right to intervene, direct the committee responsible for issuance of the licenses to revoke that license because it was granted illegally. Yeah. And make it very clear that any unlawful acts, whether committed in the past and present, we shall not entertain them. I've been so shocked that they want to follow up on the wrong acts elsewhere, but they want to pretend, they bury their heads in the sand, that this is a wrong, yes, but you can't see it because it was done by the others. No. I think the president needs to demonstrate leadership. He made it very clear, as way back in 2014, that if he was to be president, he was not going to allow this, and therefore he needs to honor that. And
have you made any petition as leader of the Green, party and committed patriotic Zambia?
From my end, yes. On my Facebook page, I passionately appealed to the president, and he reads my posts. Passionately appealed to him before he went for the AU summit. He said, before you go, sir, sort out this. He went, he's come back. I hope before he goes to Italy and Belgium, he will take action. Because, I mean, if he can't take action on a very paramount thing like this, and then he takes action on the petty civil servant issues, I don't think that's right. It's in fact more serious than Kasenseli Gold Mine, where he has taken action through his people. He needs to demonstrate leadership there.
I don't know. I'm not a politician. I'm a media person. I don't know what goes through, the minds of politicians. Can't he read the mood of the country? Can't he see that people don't want the mine to be there? And I was browsing through some material today. I discovered that President, Kaunda actually did not want any mines in that area. In fact, he's one of the presidents who developed that Lower Zambezi and enhanced their tourism. And from what I've been asking, the tourism industry will even employ more people.
It does employ more. Yes, it does employ more. Because if you look at the statistics, you'll find that mining, the whole country, only employs about 90,000. Which is less than 7% of the total labor force in the country. And tourism employs almost twice that, that number. So even the revenue that comes in through tourism, there's more money that comes, and it's more sustainable anyway. So really for us, we think that he does read. You know, he's very sensitive to posts because he himself is on Twitter, he's on Facebook, he posts, he knows the power of those kinds of platforms. And he has heard the complaints of the people from President, the late President Kaunda. He saw that because I reposted that. In fact, one of the reasons why I asked him to take action, I said, look, even the president must be turning his grave. What are we doing?
There's a historical background.
There was also that statement from President Rupia Banda, who also said, no, please. Now, if you can't hear that, if you cannot take the former president seriously, who else can you take seriously? You know what I'm saying? So really for us, we don't think that there is any need for negotiation. Government is on his government is on the right side of the law, because the license was granted illegally, and the mining company, they know that that license was granted to them illegally. Therefore, they cannot have any recourse. So we cannot even complain that there will be any recourse at all. No, because it is an illegality which they knew. It's clearly stipulated in the law. The steps must be taken, and even when they submitted their documents, so if someone was corrupt within the committee and they granted that license, when you know it was wrong, you cannot come and say, I have a recourse to this, I've redressed.
Absolutely.
They don't.
All right.
And they're playing on our mind. They're saying we are going there in May. They want to see what happens in between. So really, this is a time that the president needs to move in before May. Take action, stop that, give them elsewhere a concession, and they can mine.
Let's go back to where we started from, and remind our viewers that climate change, to an extent, is caused by industrialization, economic development. The question is that, I know you've alluded, partially to this. How do you balance economic development without environmental negative impact? And another question, how do you explain to the people in the rural areas and say, look, stop stemene, stop, charcoal, when that is the key economic activity of those areas?
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We've got policies. Policies on environment, policies on social development. And the way the laws are structured, including our constitution, is that you need to balance. So if, for example, we have the charcoal burners, and what they're causing to the environment is devastating, you can come up with another strategy for livelihood, which they can engage into, and they should be able to benefit. For example, in game management areas, we had the problem of people living around game parks who were poaching, and were creating problems until an intervention, a policy intervention was made to create game management areas where there was joint wildlife management, and the revenue being shared by the community and ZAO. So that way we were able to reduce the level of poaching, because the people themselves were the watchmen, they were the wildlife guards. So those are kind of interventions you need to make, where you balance the social issues and the environmental resources. Even forests. We had the Forest Act of 1998, which was never implemented, which brought to the fore the aspect of joint forestry management system across the country, where we're going to engage those people in areas where deforestation was very rampant, engage them in activities of protection, and at the same time provide a way of what we call livelihood aspects. So, because no one wants to be a Chaco banner.
Yeah.
It's a hectic job.
Absolutely.
You know, you find those Chaco banners in the forest, see how they toil day and night. They have to carry their bags of charcoal. You know, when you are sleeping, that's when they are cycling, taking. You know, no one wants to do that. If you can provide an alternative for them, they will do happily work with you. But you find that now, so this is the only thing they can do, and unless you have an alternative for them, they can't stop. So it's now where government comes in. We have a problem of charcoal burning, climate change. How much money is coming? $50 million has come for climate change mitigation. Where do you have a problem of charcoal burning in this area? What can we do with this money to transform the lives of those people so that they move away from such kind of activities? We can address these problems effectively. And we're taking long to achieve these objectives because we have people that come to government who don't understand what must be done. You know the what we call institutional memory. That is usually a problem. We find that when you guys come, they want to get rid of the old people. Then a lot of policy documents may just now lie idle because the other guy who come in, maybe they want to come up with their own policies, and then there's no continuity.
Absolutely.
That has been the biggest problem.
Absolutely. You must have been happy, like most of us, when this government facilitated the Ministry of green economy. From what you've seen, from what you're hearing, is this ministry doing practical things that will ensure that environment is damaged, there's proper balance? And in saying so, is this ministry on the same page with the critical agencies like the environmental agency and other related agencies? Are they singing from the same page?
It appears they are not. Okay, first of all, I was very excited myself when the ministry was created because like I said, I have a long background on these environmental issues, and they have very good credentials across the world on environmental management, served on a number of boards abroad on environmental issues. So when PF decided to scrap off the Ministry of Environment in 2011, I was one of the hurt persons. I was extremely hurt because then the nation was exposed. No proper direction on environmental management. And for the last 10 years of PF, there was no Ministry of Environment. We only had this portfolio sitting in various ministries squatting. I think the last place where it was squatting was Ministry of Sanitation. That's where it was squatting. But when this was created, we thought there was going to be a big difference. And we thought there was going to be serious policy direction. But when you find the Minister of Green Economy is the one who's justifying mining in Lower Zambezi,
you get a problem.
Then you know there's a huge problem. Then you have wrong people in those jobs. And you find that the person who granted or who issued the decision letter in May last year, on the 7th of May, the person who was the director at ISIS, Azema today, issues a letter contrary to the law, environmental law, you understand, contrary to the first of all the Environmental Management Act of 2011, contrary to the regulations, the Environmental Impact Assessment regulations, all the regulations what they stipulate, contrary to the mining environmental regulations. And this is a person who sneaks in a decision letter last minute. He knows very well that cabinet is going to be dissolved in 5 days' time. And the procedure is that if a decision letter is issued, if there are people that want to challenge it, they need to appeal to the minister. Now, he issues it a couple of days before the cabinet is dissolved and doesn't even announce. You know, and this is the person you make now the PS at the green economy. Then you know you have a problem.
Serious problem.
So that's why for me, really, when I see what has happened in between the ministry, what the minister is talking about, what the PS has done, and he's still there, he's been given the responsibility to manage the big picture, then we know we have a terrible mess.
Is it lack of patriotism, or it's a combination of many things? Lack of patriotism, greed, and
it's more to do with greed.
Yeah.
Because really, if you look at the former director Zema, he knew the problems surrounding Luangwa. And he had all the technical reports on his table. You understand? And he was briefed. There's a legal counsel there at Zema who was briefing, obviously, the director general. So, issuing that decision letter without following the due process, it's not because he didn't know what was happening. Of course, he's not an environmental person. That I know. He's not an environmental. He's not one of us, okay, in environmental circles. But had been there for some time, and especially during that crisis of the Lower Zambezi. So he knew what must be done, and there are very experienced young boys there at Zema, proper experts. But what he did to issue that decision letter was purely greed. Nothing to do with patriotism, nothing to do with the professionalism, pure greed. And it would ambush everyone else.
Tell me, Mr. SINKAMBA, again, this question is a legal connotation. Why should Zema, which is professional people, when they do an environmental assessment and they say this particular project cannot be here because it's going to damage the environment, and then with due respect to our courts, and then this case is taken to court, Zema's decision by professionals is overruled. Sometimes these people don't even go to court, they go to politicians. And Zema's decision is overruled. Please educate us, because I find it very annoying.
Extremely.
I find it very unpatriotic to our country when you know that you're doing something wrong, which is going to hurt a lot of people.
Not only the current generation. You know, the problem with environment is that the mistakes you make today will haunt not only your generations, but generations after you. For example, the problem we had in Kabwe mining started in 1902. The lead mining there. To date, first of all, the mine was closed in 1994. To date, there is a huge problem, legacy problem of lead poisoning.
I was in Italy as Zambia's ambassador, and I broke down at a conference when we were being addressed, looking at some of the most polluted areas in the world. Kabwe is one of, and our people have been affected physically, mentally, and health-wise without even any compensation. And not that you even want compensation when you're virtually semi-killed, somebody.
Absolutely. So that's the problem with decisions that you make on environment. They can take you generations one after another, and you create a problem forever. That problem in Kabwe is an issue exactly what you're talking about, where it was discovered 1948 that lead was creating a health problem to the workers and to the community.
And the land.
Yes. But the land, like is when you plant your crops, then you are consuming, then indirectly you are consuming lead, and it's creating problems to you people. But it was hidden to people. The local population didn't know. But then the politicians knew. Including during Dr. Kaunda's time. They knew. And that's why those townships, the way they were planning them, Akululu, whatever you, they knew what was happening.
Absolutely.
But then the medical documents were hidden from people. You understand? So we, like, maybe I speak briefly that before I answer the question.
Please do.
I had to fight battles on Kabwe, lead poisoning, from way back in 1998. I had to engage the lawyers who are representing the community there in Kabwe today in South Africa, and in the class action which is in South Africa today, Lide. It's me who introduced them to Kabwe way back in 2000. I had meetings with them in London at their office a number of times. I used to go there trying to put together the Kabwe case. I gave them a lot of documents which I was able to retrieve from the archives, mining archives. But there was critical information which needed to confirm that at the time of handover by Anglo to government, government was aware and were given the documents. But those documents, I needed to access them. I couldn't. They were hidden. And it became a big issue that time. But I'm glad that 20 years down the line, they were able to take up that action. I help them time and time again to give them background information, and which is one issue. But the issue is the environmental law. Why is it that when professionals make decisions, then they are overruled by politicians? Again, the issue of greed comes in. We tried very hard before the 2011 Act was enacted. During the consultations, we tried hard to change the scenario that when someone is aggrieved, they should not overturn Zema decision by a minister. The minister should not have powers to overturn. If someone is aggrieved, they should just go straight to court. Then you go and argue your case. And of course, again, the other challenge which I've noted in the years is that our lawyers who are trained through our system, environmental law was not one of the courses that did that time. I'm not sure now. But that's why in other countries they've specialized courts on environmental issues, such that even the judges have clear understanding of all the environmental policies or the environmental laws, such that when you bring the matter to them, it's not like jargon. So, but we have that legal system, and then we have this system where if you are aggrieved by the decision of Zema, then you take the minister and the overrules like Kalawa did, which is wrong. I think we need to change. We tried. Politicians were greedy. When you go to parliament, they proceed and make sure that it doesn't change, but we hope that can be changed, because it doesn't make sense. A panel of experts has made a decision based on science, then you overrule them out of political expedience. Doesn't make sense.
I'll be taking a break, and then we'll come back and we talk about marijuana, and if there are any calls in the next 15-10 minutes, please, you can call us on any issue related to climate change and environment. As I take this short break. I know your political party has got a totally different agenda, but do you feel embarrassed when they put you in the same basket as these politicians, the way we know them, and some of them we've made reference to, but not by name, that who are greedy? Do you feel tainted as a politician?
Well, not really, because you know the problem which we have in this country is that it's not a problem, it's an endowment that whoever wants to lead can form a political party. And but it's up to the people themselves to be able to weigh who is a proper leader among us. And I think that failure by our people to understand the qualities of leadership is the reason why we end up recycling the same people that have failed us several times. Then you find that there could be quality leaders out there who may not be tried on account that maybe they don't understand them.
Absolutely.
Or indeed maybe because they don't have the monies to give out in terms of corruption. Because unfortunately we have messed up the politics, especially in the last 20 years, where money is used as a tool for ascending to office, where you can bribe your way out as a councillor, as a MP, you know, it's terrible. And you find that at rallies, people do more, you know, tenge, t-shirt, you know, we have reduced leadership.
We have
reduced leadership to that kind of level. But how I wish you could go back to what used to happen during Dr. Kaunda's time.
Absolutely.
Where leadership was on quality.
And very patriotic.
Very patriotic about the nation. You are there not to make money, you are there to save. You know, how I wish you can get back to that level. Even the quality of debate, if you go to the Hansards, look at the quality of debates in the 60s, 70s,
very
80s.
Very
you know.
Very high.
But then we compromised the quality of leadership in the 90s, and then it became culture that this is it.
This is Frank On Camnet, and we're looking at climate change and issues of environment with Peter SINKAMBA, president of the Green Party. Very emotional. When are we going to find people who are really totally committed to our country? I know there are a couple of ones, you know, there. Can we sit back and serve our people diligently? Join me after this break.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
This is Frank On Camnet. We're looking at climate change. If you've got any messages, or if you want to call us, please do, because this is a very critical subject. If you don't call, if you don't send messages, then perhaps there's need to sensitize, our people, which is extremely, important. Do you tend to feel there's not enough sensitization of our people?
No, there isn't much,
Yeah.
especially on environmental management.
Yeah.
And you can see even in terms of policy.
Yeah.
ZEMA was established in 1992,
Yeah.
the year when we had the 8th summit in Rio.
Yeah.
As part of the agenda for the whole globe, it was decided that every country needed to have an environmental agency,
Yeah.
and that we established it. Ask me, 1992 to date, this is 30 years down the line.
Yeah.
How many officers does ZEMA have across the country?
Yeah.
Here, Lusaka, Livingstone, Chirundu, Ndola, is it in 5, 6?
Yeah.
You understand? But ZEMA should have been in each and every district across the country.
Absolutely.
They're not there.
Yeah.
If an institution established 30 years ago
Yeah.
cannot be all over the country, it's only in less than 10 districts, how do you expect people to be even sensitized on environmental issues? It's a huge challenge.
Absolutely.
So we have, if you look at the budget for government towards environmental protection, it is the least, including now that a ministry has been created.
I'm told that there's a caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Your name, please?
My name is Kenneth Chileshe. I'm calling from Kabwe.
Yes, Kennedy. We were just talking about Kabwe and how it's polluted and how it's a sad story. Anyway, what is your question?
Yeah, actually, it's a comment.
Please go ahead.
I'm one of the passionate people about the climate. Unfortunately, environmental issues in Zambia, I've just been working on this service. People talk about them, they invite cameras, plant one tree and pretend they are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That's very, very problematic when it comes to managing the effects of climate change. At this stage, I look to a time where we can have a campaign that is so enormous, where people will not wait for cameras for them to plant a tree.
Yeah.
To a time when we are going to declare that for every student in school to graduate, they should plant a tree the day they enter the university and make sure they leave it fit by the time they leave university. I look forward to a day where every Zambian will be told, on this day you have to plant a tree, whether you are sick or not. That is the only way we are going to start mitigating the effects of climate change. Anything other than that, we should be ready for catastrophe. And we just had, a few of other cyclones. But we have to know that worse conditions are coming if we don't prepare to mitigate the effects of climate change. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Talk about trees, an nephew of mine, Chief Sekunda, he's gone back to Germany. He came here, he wanted, he was driving a project to plant 1 million trees, very little support. Like I said, I worked in Italy where it's an offense to cut a tree. It takes a long time to go through the council to get permission. If you cut it, you plant another one. I spent 6 months in Finland where they're passionate about trees. Some of these trees take 100 years to grow, and here it's just cutting indiscriminately. Okay, not because people want to do that, but there's no driving force from the government to say, look, don't do this. If you do this, immediately replace the tree. It's sad.
Yeah, exactly. No, the issue of cutting tree and replacement, the law is there.
Yeah.
It was there. The colonialists left that law. Long time ago, you lived on the Copper Belt.
Yeah.
For you to cut a tree, you need to apply.
Absolutely.
You apply either, if it was in Mine Township, to the Changa to come, they would come and evaluate whether that tree must be cut or not. If not, they'll tell you no, you can't, or you go to council. It was a well-organized system.
Yeah.
Even in the villages, we had the chiefs. They don't allow you to cut any tree, but today it's like each one for himself and God for all, unfortunately. And then with the attitude of various governments, because during Dr. Kaunda's time, used to allocate at least 10% of the budget towards environmental protection.
Yeah.
But MMD reduced it to less than 4%, then 2%, then 1% by PF. Even now, the budget which came out is the least budget. What can you do with the 1%, 2% budget?
We're going back.
We can't.
We're going
so
backwards.
really, we have felt to sensitize, and children are growing up now. They have no clue what must be done.
Yeah.
When they learn about these environmental issues, it's for the purposes of passing their grade 7, their grade 9, their grade 12, not as a way of life.
Absolutely. We've gone backwards.
We've lost it.
With these few minutes remaining, Mr. SINKAMBA, another issue that you're passionate about, marijuana, and rightly so. The country would be getting more money than the mine we're talking about in Lower Zambezi, as proper green economy for medicine on commercial basis. Where are we now in legalizing marijuana?
Where are we now? We at least making a little bit of progress.
All right.
Because you see, we had managed to convince our colleagues in PF that time.
Yeah.
It took a long time for them to be convinced that cannabis was a big thing.
Yeah.
And I think when they started seeing what was happening around the world, and we availed certain literature, they were able to see sense. And we managed to get the laws, the bills they passed through Parliament on the last day, before Parliament was dissolved. The former president assented the bills into law a week later. But then we had a number of regulations that were in draft form for seeds, for marketing, and also the action plan, how things were going to run. But then we're hoping that if the elections had gone the other way, we would have implemented those. But unfortunately, there was this change. So we also anticipated that because now these are laws, our colleagues in UPND were going to embrace these things very quickly. They become part of the budget for 2022. But then we couldn't see them there. We tried to speak to them, but fortunately, things are happening now. We've been talking to the PS Health. I think it's been delegated by the president to handle the process and see if this thing can work. We're supposed to have a meeting last week. It didn't take off because of their challenges. Today, it was supposed to have been followed up. I think it was supposed to have been a meeting today, but again, I was not communicated to. I've come to Lusaka. I hope I'll have time to meet him the next 2-3 days that I'm going to be here to see if we can have some concrete program. Because the more we take time, the more we are wasting the empowerment of the people. I mean, like you've rightly indicated, this is a billion-dollar industry, bigger than what you're talking about in Lower Zambezi. It can employ not less than 2 million youths. If you're talking about proper employment of youths, this is it. The kind of plan we have where we industrialize the cannabis, the industrial hemp especially. We industrialize and we have various industries across the country. We can get a lot of these youths that are frustrated into mainstream economic activities. 2 million of them can get into jobs. But we hope that our colleagues are not going to drag their feet for a long time until it is election time. No. Because you see, right now, the seed we need to sort out. Because the seed has to be imported for industrial hemp. And not every seed that you bring will grow here. So we need to do some experiment to see which seed can grow, which microclimate is suitable. We also start breeding ours in due course. But we need time to do that. So we're hoping that we could conclude now, so at certain preliminary activities, especially on seed, we can start running with them. Otherwise, 2, 3, 4 years will lapse and nothing will have been done.
Yeah.
And then we get into the elections, again people start promising. So really I hope Dr. Kasonga should be able to have time to meet him.
Yeah.
I mean Professor Kasonga, sorry. To meet him, and then we discuss on the way forward, because I mean our chiefs are looking forward to this program taking off. They're really geared.
Okay.
Our youths are looking forward. So it's like it's making progress slowly, and we hope we should be able to take off.
Brilliant.
The coming season, maybe we can plan.
Excellent. My final, question, Mr. SINKAMBA, what are your expectations, from this government, in terms of, the roadmap of climate change, environmental, issues, and also taking into consideration that the next COP is in Africa, in Egypt. Briefly on that, and also, where you're going now as Green Party?
Well, in terms of direction on environment, I think the starting point was to set up the ministry.
Right.
But in between, I think there's need to come up with the strategic plans on how we shall engage, especially to refocus the way we've been managing the environment. If need be, certain laws, we need to amend them. For example, those that are allowing mining in game parks.
Yeah.
We need to repeal those laws and change the way we're going to manage things. I'm glad Zema is coming up with a strategic plan. Again, this country are very good at coming up with plans we don't implement. So we hope we can have proper strategy established by government on how we are going to engage on climate change, and how we can especially tap into the resources. There are various resource envelopes across the country, and I'm sorry, across the world, which we could dip into to assist manage our environment. But we lack strategy. We lack strategy. That is our biggest problem. I hope we can do that. So at come the next COP 27, which will be in Egypt, when we go there, it's not just go and make speeches, but it's go and engage in a more meaningful arrangement such that benefits start trickling down into the country.
Brilliant.
The Green Party, the direction, we want to do more implementation of certain things that we talk about. For example, the issues of cannabis, industrial hemp. We want to lead the process of implementation, because you see, the politics are just talking every day. You're just reacting to other politicians. It's not helping the country. Or you are engaging into insults. It's not helping the country. So before you can take yourself as a leader in the next election, you must show that, look, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'll do to up the game if I'm made this. At least something to point at. Whether you're in opposition or in government, you must do something.
Brilliant.
So we want to implement some of our green agenda programs to assist government, because also, our government or governments that come, they don't understand everything. You understand? They probably what they understand in the running government is maybe 40%. The other 60%, there are other people out there who are not involved. So we want to see how we can assist in the implementation of some of these things, so that maybe we can help our people come out of their poverty, even from opposition.
Brilliant. I hope you find time to see my colleagues at Horizon Properties. They've just started a green village.
Oh, that's very good.
And we're very excited about that. Thank you very much. For driving all the way from Keto to come and participate on our show and other important national issues. And God bless you.
It was a pleasure having me here. Thank you very much, and God bless everyone.
Okay. My guest on the program, Peter SINKAMBA, President of the Green Party. I thank him a lot, together with my crew here and my executive, producers, Pastor Chiluba and Mrs. Chiluba. I always end with this phrase, which says, do your very best, and God will do the rest. I'm changing just for this program. God made such a beautiful world. Don't destroy it. Good night.